What is up, everyone? JD here. Hope you're all doing well today. Today we're going to be doing the disassembly and maintenance for the Wii Hyphen. And I'm also going to be throwing on a set of skiffs. I think these are the 5mm by 1/16, but I do have my tool here to verify that before I do get that far into it. I do recommend Weehaw bits because they are very good bits. You don't have to worry about them potentially stripping out on you. And I do like the Weehaw stubby bit driver that I have linked down in the description below. But if you need something for storage like I do, I use my Maxpedition pouch to use the little pockets to organize everything. The CRKT internal storage tool made by Scout Tools is a really unique way of doing that. And I think I'll also have Scout's website linked below for their little ball bearing driver bit. It's not super smooth, fast spinning, but what I do like about it is really easy to grip onto to spin the bits while you're working on it. For this one, I did check before we started. It is all T8 hardware. It is just the standoff and the pivot. I did mention this in my review of this knife. The actual pivot backed out on me initially, but hasn't since. At least I don't think so. No, hasn't since. And then the bolt on the standoff was actually completely loose when I started, when I took it out of the box and was checking the knife out. So let's go ahead and get started. Really simple construction. These are titanium, so if you have my mat below, that is linked below, it is not going to hold the hardware in place, so I recommend using the deeper pockets to keep that from rolling around. Go ahead next and remove your pivot, which we already know was a little loose. I like the design. This reminds me of the Roxy 3, where it has the collar that has the lipping that pushes the whole weight down onto the knife. Go ahead and set your knife down, lift up on the lock bar, and just start wiggling it lightly to remove it. The knife is so new, I'm not too worried about dirt. I am going to wipe it down though, or flipping over the washers, because I'm doing this pretty quickly after my review of the knife. And the tracks, maybe I should flip them. Maybe I fidgeted with it a little bit more than I realized. So I'm going to go ahead and set the washers to the side. I am going to grab the tool really quick before we get into anything else and just check to make sure that it is a 5mm pivot, which is right here. So let me move that over a little because I'm not trying to scratch up my ano. So yep, 5mm. Yeah, 3/16 is too small, so it should be 5mm, and it should be, yep, 1/16 ball fits really good. It looks like it has a little bit of wiggle room, but it's not awful. It's just a hint of wiggle room. All right, go ahead and put your tool away and go ahead and get started with cleaning off the knife in whatever method you like. This has not been used too much, so I'm thinking a dry clean should take care of everything for me. You can see I have a detent ball track, and I do have a little wear track on the acid wash on the knife. I think I still have a little bit of lube from the last disassembly video I did. And then go ahead, I recommend whatever you have nearby. I need to pick up some doodads. Maybe I'll order that. Oh, that went right through the microfiber cloth. Yeah, it went right through. Yep, went right through. Let me double up the microfiber cloth, see if that helps. Just need to lead the edge there. Yeah, that worked. To clean out the detent ball track, or the detent ball hole. And that worked pretty good. Oh yeah, let me get the washer out. I am going to go ahead and flip them, and I'm going to go ahead and clean in here. There's a little bit of lube underneath. I think the reason that you see that sometimes though is because they do like to have it stay in place. Civivi Wii continues to have the one lip on here, so be really careful with how much tension you're putting on that when you're trying to adjust anything or lock anything down. The titanium one should be okay, but I do recommend just be careful with that to make sure that you're not putting too much tension on that. It does have a little bit of a wear mark on the pivot already, but the pivot is nice and polished, so that should have really smooth action on it. Let's go ahead and reinstall so that it's facing towards, there we go, the lock. Why can't I think? The nub, I don't know what else to call it, the nub, whatever the finish is. I'm gonna set this off to the side because it's wanting to grab stuff. And let me clean this washer off. A little hard to grip it with the rubber gloves, so I might just drop it in here and do it that way. Oh yeah, that's much easier. Let me see if I can figure out which side has the track. Whoops. This side does not have the track. This needs a little bit of squirt, just a dab on there, don't need much, and use the cloth to kind of make sure this comes clean. Yeah, I got rid of all the gunk on there. Nice and fresh finish side. Go ahead and set that down. I'm going to use the rubbing alcohol on the stop pin too. It's looking a little gritty. Got black soot and stuff all over it. So this one, even though most of the knives that I get from Weiss factory usually comes pretty clean, I think they use like a little bit of oil to keep it from moving around too much. And I think that's why you see that it has like dirt and debris on it, because I think that little tiny bit of lube keeps it from sticking, but I think it also picks up the dirt. So I'm going to test that theory on this knife. Lucky knife, huh? So this is going to be from my, love these Rocket Glide. I love these tactile pins with the Parker refills. They work so well. I love them so much. Let's see here. We'll get it open. And get these washers out. There we go. And then we'll take the old ones and throw these in here for safekeeping. I like to do this. Most of them, right, are the same, so it really doesn't matter. But I do this so that if I ever want to swap it back for some odd reason, I know what knife it came from, and I know that the track on the other side is going to match those specific bearings. That's why I do that. I think most people would probably just throw them all together, but I do end up rotating knives because for the channel, so it helps cut on the cost if I take the skiffs back off, because people aren't usually willing to pay any extra for skiffs because they're like 14 bucks. Perfect fit. So we're good to go there. What I'm going to do now is just put a couple of drops. Oh, the stop pin fell out, so let me check to make sure that hasn't moved. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's sitting nice and flush. I'm just going to put a little lube around the pivot to make sure the blade is riding nice and smooth. I'm going to pull up on the pivot and set it back flush to make sure that it hasn't come out of its spot, and we'll go ahead and install the blade. Did I wipe the back of this off? Let me just in case. I don't know if I wiped the lock bar off either. I don't think that I did. We'll put a drop right in front of, I do it in front so I can see how much I'm putting down. So that way I can see how much lube is there, and that way I know. Let me clean off the insert. It looks good. It didn't have any lock stick anyway, so we should be good. Grab my magnet now that I can see this, and grab my rubbing alcohol again. Sorry I'm doing this part off camera. It's just I'm kind of limited on the space that I have on the table right now. So thanks for your patience while I'm doing this off screen. I probably am going to cut myself talking all out and come right back. All right, so that is clean. And Let me see. That has the track. So no track on this side. We'll leave that face up because I'm just going to put it on top of the bearing. And there we go. It took a minute for it to come out of the applicator for whatever reason today. It looks like I got some Earl on the scales, so I'll go ahead and address that. Gonna go ahead, and this is facing the direction I want it to lay. Right? Right. Yep. Okay. Gonna go ahead and just put a drop in there and a little there, and I don't need any there because that's exposed, so it should have regular airflow. All right, feels good. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the pivot bolt. Yeah, that feels good. Yeah, going in nice and smooth. It felt a little tight. I'm definitely gonna have to back that out some. And let me flip this over so that I can. It is a deep bolt and pivot, like how it goes onto the edge of the bit, but they're very shallow as far as the thickness of those. So I always try to be careful with these. That feels nice and snug. Let me see, did I put these on too tight? Maybe not. Nice and centered. No play. All right. Feels good. I'm going to see how it does without thread locker, but I would just say if it starts to back out on you, go ahead and throw the thread locker on there. It feels good. I'm going to have to break in the track, obviously, from the skiffs that I just installed, but again, I feel like this one's going to stick around, so I definitely wanted to do that right out of the gate. Hopefully this video has helped you. If it did, if you could do me a favor, leave a like. Consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. I'd love to have you follow along as I continue to bring the content to you. Thanks to everyone out there that is regularly leaving the likes and commenting on the videos. I appreciate your subscription and support. I hope all of you have a fantastic week, and until next time, peace.